Little girl ran to bikers crying, "They're beating my mama. You will not believe what bikers did." Watch this emotional rescue story. Subscribe, like, and share for more heartwarming true tales. So let's begin. The evening air outside a small roadside diner in Arizona was filled with the low rumble of motorcycle engines cooling down. A group of bikers stood near their parked bikes, laughing quietly and sipping coffee. To passing strangers, they looked intimidating, unaware that their night was about to change forever. Suddenly, a little girl came running across the parking lot. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Her hair was messy, her shoes mismatched, and her face was soaked with tears. She looked terrified, glancing over her shoulder as if danger was chasing her. Without thinking, she ran straight toward the bikers. She grabbed the sleeve of one man's leather jacket with both hands and cried out, her voice shaking, "Please help me! They're beating my mama!" The words hit the group like a punch to the chest. The laughter stopped instantly. Every biker froze, then moved at once. The club leader crouched down to the girl's level, his tough expression softening. He asked her gently where her mother was, trying to keep his voice calm so he wouldn't scare her further. The girl pointed toward a dark area behind an abandoned convenience store next to the diner. Her hands were trembling. One biker handed her a bottle of water while another signaled the rest of the group. Without hesitation, they followed her, boots crunching against the gravel. As they approached the parking lot, shouting echoed through the darkness. The bikers could now see a woman pinned against a car with a smashed rear window. 2 men were yelling at her, one grabbing her arm while the other shoved her hard. The little girl screamed and tried to run forward, but one biker gently held her back, placing his jacket around her shoulders. Another biker immediately pulled out his phone and dialed 911, giving the dispatcher their location and describing the violent assault in progress. The bikers stepped in fast. They didn't throw punches or act recklessly. Instead, they shouted loudly, forming a solid line between the attackers and the woman. The sudden appearance of large, leather-clad men startled the attackers, who froze in fear. One biker warned them to step back and keep their hands where they could be seen. The attackers hesitated, clearly realizing the situation had shifted. With sirens faintly approaching in the distance, the men backed away, cursing, but no longer touching the woman. The woman collapsed to the ground, shaking and crying. A biker knelt beside her, speaking softly, telling her she was safe now. Another covered her with a jacket, while someone else checked her arms for injuries. She kept asking about her daughter. When the little girl was brought forward, she ran into her mother's arms. Both of them cried uncontrollably, holding onto each other as if afraid to let go. Several bikers turned away, pretending to adjust their gloves, hiding the emotion in their eyes. The police sirens grew louder. The bikers stayed where they were, forming a protective circle around the mother and child. None of them left. None of them looked away. That night, before the police even arrived, something powerful had already happened. Fear had been replaced by hope. The police arrived just moments later, lights flashing, sirens wailing. Officers quickly assessed the scene, separating the bikers, the mother, the child, and the assailants. The attackers were handcuffed and read their rights, still stunned by the bikers' intervention. The mother and daughter stayed close, wrapped in jackets, safe for the first time that night. The bikers explained everything to the officers, recounting how they had intervened, protected the woman, and ensured the little girl stayed calm. The police nodded, impressed by the swift and careful action. No one had been seriously hurt, and the bikers' presence had prevented what could have been a far worse situation. Once the mother and daughter were in the patrol car for questioning, one of the bikers spoke to them softly. He explained that there were people who would help, people who understood their fear, and that they would not be alone after this night. The woman nodded, tears running down her face. A few bikers stayed behind to ensure the attackers were removed from the scene safely. They did not engage further. They had done enough. Their main focus remained on the mother and child, who were visibly exhausted and traumatized. Their comforting presence seemed to calm the little girl, who no longer trembled. After the police finished collecting statements, the bikers offered additional help. They pooled some money to pay for a motel for the mother and child, ensuring they had a safe place to stay for the night. They also called a local women's shelter and confirmed the woman could check in immediately if she wished. One of the bikers, a man in his 40s named Jake, shared his story with the mother. He had grown up in a home with abuse, understanding the fear and helplessness she felt. "No child should have to watch their parent get hurt," he said quietly, his voice full of empathy. The mother clutched her daughter closer, listening intently. As the night went on, the bikers helped the woman contact friends and family. They arranged for her car to be repaired, since it had been damaged during the attack, and even offered rides if she needed to reach the shelter. Each action was thoughtful, demonstrating that kindness didn't always come in expected forms. By the time everything was settled, the little girl was asleep in her mother's arms. The mother smiled weakly, grateful beyond words. She hugged the bikers one by one, thanking them for saving her life and her child's. "I don't know how to ever repay you," she whispered, her voice breaking. The bikers shrugged, some smiling, some hiding emotion behind stoic expressions. "You don't have to," one of them said. "Just be safe. That's enough." In that moment, the town outside the diner felt smaller, but somehow safer, because of these leather-clad strangers who had shown courage, empathy, and protection. As they mounted their motorcycles to leave, engines roaring softly in the dark, the bikers cast one last glance toward the mother and daughter. They waved, and the little girl waved back, a bright smile on her face for the first time that night. It was a smile that would linger in the bikers' minds forever. Sometimes heroes don't wear badges, and sometimes angels ride motorcycles. That night, in a small Arizona town, 2 lives had been saved, and an entire community witnessed a powerful reminder. Courage, empathy, and humanity can appear in the most unexpected places, and true kindness knows no boundaries.